tourism, travel and investigation are essential to human instinct. The expression tourism was utilized in the 19th century. Tourism comes from the Hebrew word Torah, which means studying, learning, or searching. It was also derived from the Old Saxon term torn, which means live with the aim of returning, while the word hospitality is derived from the Latin word hospiter, which means to receive as a guest. Early tourism has two forms: travel for business or trading, and religious travel. The Sumerians is the example of business travel, while the pilgrimage is the example of religious travel. So aside from Rome and Jerusalem, St. James of Galicia was the popular destination of English pilgrims in the 14th century. This is St. James of Galicia in Spain. During the medieval period, the travel was declined and they became unsafe. The term travel may originate from the Old French word travail, which means work. During this period, thieves harmed those who traveled. That is why no one traveled for pleasure. Crusaders and pilgrims were the only ones who traveled. Travel for education became popular in the 16th century. The sick went to spas or medical baths to get relief from their ailments. The word spa is derived from the Walloon word spa, meaning fountain. The most famous spa in 60s is the Turnbridge Wells in Kent, near in London. In the early 19th century, there are two technological developments that had a major effect on the growth of tourism: development of steam power and introduction of railways. In 1866, Thomas Cook organized his first American tour. In 1874, he introduced circular notes which were accepted by banks, hotels, shops, and restaurants. These were the first traveler's checks. This picture is the example of circular note. As the 19th century drew to a close, photography and guidebooks became popular. Baedeker, the most popular guidebooks, and was published in 1839 and became the leading guide for European countries at the end of the century.
However, World War I influenced the volume of tourism. Early post-war and large-scale migration increased the demand for international travel. After World War I, the railways as a means of travel declined with the introduction of the motor car. World War II also led to interest in travel by introducing combatants to new continents, new friendships, and interest in new cultures.
The recorded history of the hospitality industry also started with the Sumerians. Sumerians were the first to develop trade in the modern sense of the word. They invented money, writing, the well, and alcoholic beverages. This led to the establishments of taverns, or what we called bars, making them the first hospitality business. In 2000 BC, trade developed among the people of the Middle East, and many of them were traders of exotic goods. They also needed hospitality services for their long travels, and this is where caravanserai was born. They were early examples of inns which provided food and shelter to travelers. In 3200 BC to 476 AD, there are three significant empires flourished, namely Egyptian, Greek, and Romans. The famous pyramids or tombs for the pharaohs became tourist attractions. Egyptians were the first to begin the activity we now call tourism and hospitality. The Greeks, on the other hand, were united by Philip in Macedonia in the middle of the 3rd century BC. This led to inns and taverns being common in ancient Greece. In 146 BC, after many years of conflict, Greece became a Roman protectorate. The Romans constructed elaborate inns along the main roads of Marco Polo described as fit for a king. It is believed that the Romans were the first to establish the first restaurant chain.
In the early modern period 1600 AD to 1800 AD, it was in the 16th century when a type of eating place for commoner called ordinary appeared in England. In that year, a man named Boulanger operated a small business which sold soaps and broths in Paris. These were known as restaurants, a French word which means restorative. More luxurious hotels began to appear in London, and one of them is the Savoy Hotel. The Savoy employed two men who became famous throughout the world, Caesar Ritz and Auguste Escoffier. The general manager was renowned hotelier Caesar Ritz, the chef des cuisines, and was the most popular chef of all time for installing the kitchen brigade system.